Jack Del Rio. I don't know if you remember me. I shook your hand in 1985 when I was getting recruited to come up to USC. And I'm the guy that ended up getting a release, going to Notre Dame. Russ Pennell got fired, and you lost 2 scholarships, something like that. Anyway, I want to make amends to USC, bro, with Russ, Jack, and I've discovered 2 miracles, brother, that are going to rock the world. And you being a USC football guy, you could help me get them famous. The first miracle I discovered was the fountain of orgasm for women, which is not going to make any money unless women donate $1 per orgasm or even 25 cents for all the orgasms they experience. But what is going to rock the world and make me a lot of money is stevia splitting water into a natural gas and curing cancer, diabetes, and obesity. Yeah, I shook your hand one day after a game. You were shaking hands. You probably have no idea who the fuck I am. I watched you, and I thought you were good. I didn't think there was any chance that I would supplant you my freshman year, but I was looking forward to when you left, of taking over. And FYI, look at my play, the play, Dan Quinn's The Play at Notre Dame, when I snagged a tailback diving for a touchdown on 4th and inches. And I know you couldn't have made the same play. You didn't have the same speed that I did. You're a great player. You did your time in the NFL. I contemplated walking onto the Raiders after I got fired from Notre Dame and kicked out for an attempted rape. That was my first $1 million opportunity, Jack. I had the rector of the hall saying that he knocked on my door and he listened and it was silent. And her testimony was my stereo was playing so loud that her cries for help couldn't be heard. It was the same group of girls that I got suspended for 2 semesters for supposedly punching a bitch, Patty Noble, down a hallway 17 feet. I bitch slapped her when she attacked me, but punching a girl, never in my life. Anyhow, Jack, use your fame at USC to get a USC scientist to blend stevia in water. Only fill the blender up a third of the way because water will triple in size as it expands and morphs into a natural gas called split H2O. And the exhaust of pure H2O, or split H2O, is what I call pure H2O. It's water underneath a huge layer of toxic soap. I get all that soap out, Jack, and the remaining water that's left over acts like the fountain of youth. It cured my mom's 17-year-old, skeleton-thin, sneezing blood bubbles cat. I blended it in tuna fish. She lapped herself into perfect health and lived for an additional 2 years until 19, when tap water was reintroduced into her diet, even with stevia, and she had congestive heart failure and was dead within a week or 7 days or 10 days or something like that. Anyhow, the pure H2O cured Peachy, led to knocking 74 pounds and 6 breast tumors off my uncle in 4 months. He was obese, had just lost his prostate to cancer, and he started drinking that water underneath the big layer of soap, and he lost 74 pounds of fatty fat and 6 precancerous breast tumors in 4 months. Bottle that up and sell it, and I can make a huge donation to USC to make up for Russ getting fired and you guys getting put on probation. Did that happen? I don't even remember. All I remember is I didn't get a job for a month and a half in the summer, and I'm thinking if these fuckers are lying at this point, what happens when I graduate? Are they going to help me get into medical school if I don't make it to the NFL? And as far as making it to the NFL, Lou Holtz had to kick me out the team to make room for Frank Stamms. I kicked his ass every day in practice, and we went against each other, owned him like he was my bitch. and he was a second-round draft pick and played 8 years in the NFL. I turned my back on football when I got fired for making the best stop in the history of Notre Dame. Lou Holtz fired me immediately when I hit the sidelines after I snagged a tailback diving for a touchdown on 4th and inches, saving 6 points, and I immediately quit football with my connections in a criminal underworld. Homeboy, I would have had coaches killed. There's a lot of them that deserve it. Anyhow, help me get Stevie famous, Jack. And this is a little technique that you can play on your wife if she hasn't had a cesarean section. You polarize the G-spot from the top and the bottom and massage in a violin action. 2 fingers in and up to the bottom of the G-spot, and instead of the left hand grabbing ass or pinching nipple like it usually does, you press down on her belly below the belly button. You feel the inside fingers and you polarize and compress the G-spot. It sends them to the fountain of orgasm for women. It gives women that have been raped and can't orgasm, gives them miracle orgasms. They don't have to think about it. It just overrides it, supplants the thought process. Anyhow, when her pelvis comes out the bed to attack your face and she said, "Oh my God, it is a miracle," like 2 women of guys that work here have done. I told 2 brothers that work here about the violin, I call it, and they said, "Oh yeah, it works." Yeah, here is a mental hospital. I'm like John Nash, homeboy. I'm a future Nobel Prize winner that's trapped inside an insane asylum, and I can't get out because my beep conservator won't find a place for me to stay. I've been released for over 3 months, going on 4 months, and she just thinks it's better for me to stay in here. She thinks the violin, the fountain of orgasm for women, is a, how'd she phrase it? She thinks that it's a figment of my imagination and that I'm dreaming about it. Anyhow, help me get those 2 miracles famous, Jack, and I'll kick you down a couple million when Pure H2O is generating $100 million a day in the United States alone. Look at my face. Stevia alone has taken my face from chubby fat to leaning down, looking like it did when I was in high school. Not that lean yet, but it will. And know that stevia alone is a miracle for the human body. Put it in water, blend. All the toxic shit that's contaminating water will float for easy removal. Get it out. Pure H2O acts like the fountain of youth. And I'm willing to give that over to USC to do all the studying and all the dynamics of helping me become one of the richest men in the world and paying back USC for getting released and turning my back on them.